Hello, everybody. We're back with another chapter of Red Dog by Bill Wallace. Once again, I am reading this with permission of Simon and Schuster. Today we're going to be reading chapter 9. So we found out in chapter 8 that Adam had a staged confrontation with one of Sam's friends, the Teton Indian Shonatak, and Sam made plans to go to Wyoming so he could officially stake a claim on their farmland and get there before the gold prospectors who had visited the house in chapter 7 got there and staked their own claim on the land. So here is chapter 9. Adam had a hard time waking up the next morning. When he opened his eyes, it felt like somebody had poured sand in them. He finally managed to get out of bed and look over the edge of the loft. No one was around. The cabin was empty. Afraid he might miss something, he dressed quickly and climbed down. A quick look told him Sam had already gone. His rifle was missing, and the supplies Mother had fixed the night before were gone also. He felt a little shake run through him. For the first time, he experienced the weight of responsibility Sam had placed on him. And instead of getting up early and doing his chores and watching the place, he'd overslept. He rushed to the window and squinted his eyes against the glare of the early morning light. Mother was hanging her wash on the line beside the cabin. He sighed with relief, knowing she was all right. Lori was outside on the porch, playing with her apple doll. Ruff was lying beside her feet, gnawing on a deer bone. Mother came back to the house while he was watching Lori and Ruff. "Mornin'," she greeted. "Have a good sleep?" Adam frowned. "Why didn't you wake me when Sam left? I'm supposed to watch things while he's gone, remember?" Mother walked to the stove and pulled out a pan of biscuits. "I figured I'd let you sleep," she answered. "You got a lot of work to do today. The cow busted out of her pen last night, and you got to chop rails to fix it. Sam figured it was that pesky mountain lion again. Come over and eat your breakfast." She put the biscuits on the table and pulled some eggs and venison from the skillet near the fireplace. Adam took his plate over to the window. Mother was right about him needing to eat breakfast. It would take a lot of energy to fix that corral. He stuffed some biscuits in his mouth, finished his breakfast, and headed for the pen. "I'll be back when I get the fence tended," he told Mother. "Don't let Lori get too far from the house, and keep a watch on things while I'm out there." Mother nodded. "Don't work too hard," she cautioned. Adam nodded. "Be back in a while." It took nearly half a day to get the pen back together. The dumb old cow had tried to jump one of the rails, and from the look of things, she managed to land right on top of the fence. 3 rails were busted clean in two, and both posts were cracked. That meant Adam had to bring in 4 rails. He had to chop the trees down, then strip the limbs and bark and make sure they were cut the right length. Next, he had to dig up the cracked stakes, put new ones in their place, and notch them so the rails would fit. When he came inside for lunch, Mother had a good meal fixed, but Adam was so tired he could barely eat. Even the fork felt heavy when he picked it up. His arms and shoulders ached from swinging the axe. He hadn't noticed the blisters on his hands until he sat down. They made it troublesome to even pick up food, much less use his knife to cut the deer steaks Mother had fried. When he finished eating, there wasn't even time for a nap. As he was hauling saplings to fix the fence, he'd noticed that the corn needed hoeing. Before he went out, he got 2 old shirts from his room. He shredded them and used the strips of rags to wrap his hands. That way the hoe handle wouldn't tear up the blisters he'd already got from swinging the axe. He was so tired that evening at supper he nearly fell out of his chair. Still, he managed to stay awake. He even managed to sit up tall and straight, feeling mighty proud of himself for doing all the work that needed to be done. He could tell that Mother was proud of him too, by the way she looked at him. And the next morning she even fixed him a pot of coffee for breakfast, just like she did for Sam. "You best take it a little easy today," she cautioned when he left the house. "Don't try to do too much. You work as hard today as you did yesterday, you'll be plumb tuckered. Sam will be gone might near a week. You don't have to do everything in one day." Adam nodded. "Yes, ma'am." but he knew inside that he would do anything that needed to be done. No matter how tired he was, or how much he'd rather rest and play, he was the man of the place now, and he'd do the man's work. And so it went for the next 5 days. He cut hay as feed for the cows. He chopped wood for heat during the long Wyoming Territory winters. There was nothing much to break up the work. Just the same old thing, hour after hour. A couple of times, Adam spotted the Indian Shonatak watching him. But the man always stayed a long distance away. He never once came close enough for Adam to get a good look at him, or to even say hello. So Adam kept working when he'd rather play. Mother kept working and doing her washing and cooking, and Lori and Ruff kept playing and lazing around the place like kids do. And all of them were watchful and alert, hoping Sam would hurry and come back. All right, we'll be back next time with Chapter 10. Thanks for listening.